Hello everyone! I know you all liked following me on my scooter adventures, so I wanted to make a video to talk about all of these ones that I've owned and some of the pros and cons of each of them. We'll start with the Razor E200. This one I found at Goodwill back in Arizona when I was visiting Fracture. I bought it for $25. And then it had a dead battery, so I had to pay $100 for a new battery off of eBay. So essentially I upgraded the factory battery, which was I think 8 amp hours, to these 2 lithium ion batteries, which put it up to like 20 amp hours total. So this can go way further than the factory one. Yeah, this is a scooter from Razor. This one is made for kids. The max weight is about 150 pounds on this one, so if you are small like me, this will work fine. You can find these at Goodwills all over the place just because people get rid of them once the battery dies. You can buy a factory battery for them for about, I think like $40 or $50. It's a little bit less, but they of course don't hold as much charge as a lithium ion battery. So this one is good because it is chain drive, so even though the battery, even though the motor is a little bit less power than some of the nicer ones, the gear reduction gives it a lot more torque than it would have normally, so you can still go pretty fast on this. So for the pros, obviously these are easy to find used. It's very speedy. It accelerates pretty fast, especially with that gear reduction. It's a lot cheaper than some of the other ones, and you can also add a chair to this one because these had a version that came with a chair, so the bolt holds right there. However, for the cons, obviously with the chain drive, it is pretty noisy. I tried putting a rubber band on the chain tensioner so that it wouldn't make that rattling sound, but it just kind of falls off after a while, so it is kind of noisy with the chain. It also does not have a variable throttle. It's either off or on. So you're either accelerating or you're decelerating. So that's kind of annoying compared to some of the other ones where you can like slowly kind of go a certain speed. It's either max speed or not. So that's kind of a negative with this one. It also does not have a speedometer and it does not have any lights. So I added some bicycle clip-on lights to this one so that I could ride it at nighttime. I also added this bicycle speedometer so that you can see how fast you're going, because it's kind of nice to see like what speed you're going when you're driving it. It's also non-folding. So you can't fold this one. It takes up a lot of space when it's in this configuration. You can unscrew the handlebars here, but that's kind of annoying. So it would be nice if it had a folding feature so you could like tuck it away somewhere when you're not using it. Lastly, it's also extremely difficult to fill up the back tire on this one because it's got the brake on one side and it has the chain drive on the other. So it's really hard to reach the little air nozzle for the rear tire tube. So when you're filling up the back tire, it's really annoying. But besides that, this one is pretty good. And if you can find one with a good battery for cheap at Goodwill, this is a good one to kind of get you around town. So not a bad deal. Next we have the XHover-1 Pioneer. This one I bought from Walmart in 2019 because they had them on display for, I think it was $199, but when I rang it up, it actually was $150. So this is a decent price for something brand new that's essentially a clone of one of those rental Lime scooters that you see all around town. So this one was a really good buy for me. You can see the styling on this one is a little bit more modern than the Razor scooter. This one is made for adults. I think the maximum weight rating on this one is 350 pounds or 250, I don't remember. It's something like that. So some of the pros for this one. This one comes with an air pump, so if you don't have one already, you can get one to inflate the tires if you need to. It is also very lightweight. It's a little bit lighter than the Razor scooter because the Razor one has a solid, I think, steel frame. This one is all aluminum, so it weighs a lot less. It is also really easy to fill up these tires. Obviously, there's nothing in the way of them this time, so you have easy access to the air nozzles. This one also has everything that I wish the Razor scooter had. This one has the speedometer, it has cruise control, so you can actually set the speed and cruise along at that speed. It's got lights, it's got brake lights. got pretty much everything. It also has a pretty decent maximum speed, so great for kind of zooming around. And also, as you can see right now, it has quick and easy folding for transportation. It locks in this down position. You can pick it up. You can carry it around with you. And to unfold it, it just has this little like hinging latch that kind of locks in place, and then you are good to go. So very easy setup and great for transport and storage. However, for the cons, it is very difficult to change the tires on this one. This one, both front and back, have solid kind of rims, not like two-piece rims or anything like that. So in order to get new tire tubes on there, you have to like pry the tire off and then change the tube out. It's really annoying. I've had to do it a million times because I kept running over sharp things and it would make my tires go flat. So I bought this one for $150. I had to spend like another probably $50 on new tires, and eventually had to buy solid tires for it, which was another $30. And the solid tires were almost impossible to install. But now I don't have to worry about tires going flat anymore. With that being said, it also rides really rough with the solid tires because obviously there's no suspension on this one. So now, since there's no air inside the tire, there's nothing to absorb most of the shocks on the ground. So it is very rough. And I ended up cracking the handlebars right there where the weld is because of how rough it was. So keep that in mind. Solid tires are nice, but it rides really rough with them. Another thing on the cons, it is only a rear brake, which is not ideal because if you need to stop really fast, if you grab that brake handle, it's just going to lock the rear wheel and it's going to skid. So not very ideal. Front brakes are a lot better for trying to stop hard. It could also use a little more range. After using this one for about 3 years, because it is a cheaper one, the battery does not have very good capacity anymore, and I pretty much have to charge it every single day in order to get any type of distance out of it. So not ideal, but for something small and cheap, this is awesome. What do we have next? And lastly, we have in front of us a Nanrobot D6 Plus. Obviously you can tell this one is giant compared to the other two. This one is an actual road scooter. I bought this one on Facebook Marketplace from some guy locally that was just trying to get rid of it. So I got it for a really good deal. It costs $900. These are normally $1,600. So while I spent a lot on this, it was still a lot less than what they normally go for. So you can buy these used for a pretty decent price compared to their like normal cost. But yeah, to the pros. First of all, this one is fast, very fast. I can go like almost 50 miles an hour on this scooter. I think I got up to 43 earlier when the battery wasn't fully charged. It's kind of scary, but also really cool. However, you can crash and get injured on these because of how fast it goes, so keep that in mind. This one also has a great battery range. It can go anywhere from like 20 to 40 miles on the battery charge, so that is great if you need an actual like electric vehicle to commute with. It is also extremely easy to fill up and change the tires on these. These ones have two-piece rims, so you get to separate it and then the tire just comes off. So no more trying to pry the tire off of those single rims like with the other ones. This is really awesome. I like how they did that design. Makes it like so much easier. And this one also has all the features that the mid-range one doesn't have. This one has lights, horn, cruise, turn signal, an odometer so you can see how far you've driven. It has a gauge to show how much battery life is left. This one has pretty much everything. It's awesome. But with that comes the cons. Obviously, this one is heavy. This one weighs like 75 pounds, so carrying it around isn't really as easy of a task with the other two. Also, the accessories are expensive because this is a more expensive scooter, so if you want to buy like a seat for this, it's like $200 or something, I don't know. But yeah, so if you want extra stuff, it's expensive. Also, the folding feature is not ideal for carrying on this one. It folds down, but it does not lock into anything, so you can't really carry it from the handlebars like with the other one. There might be an accessory that does that, but I haven't really found one yet. it would be nice. And also to unlock it, you have to like twist this handle thing, so it's not as quick as the other one. And lastly, obviously, this one's also very expensive compared to the other two. So if you will have extra money to spend on something that is decent, it's like, it's good because it works nice, but it's expensive. Expensiver. It's more expensiver. Well, I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching me